Welcome back to the freelance life. This week we are going to be doing a fun tutorial that my kids actually suggested I do because my phone is a hot mess. I actually recently shared a video over on Patreon for my pen pal tiers for the exclusive video for the month of September. And as I was doing this video, I was a little embarrassed to screen share my screen recording of my phone because my phone is a total hot mess. So we're gonna work on making my phone aesthetic AF, and I'm also gonna show you how you can quickly, if you like design work, create your own icons using an iPad so that you can create your own icons for use on your phone with the whole Widgets app. This whole widget thing is blowing up on YouTube, and I'm gonna jump on it because why not, and because I want to create a new product for my creative market shop and for my Etsy shop, and I thought this would be a fun way to do it. And basically, for people who don't have graphic design skills, buying like icon sets like this is a really simple and quick way to basically create this whole aesthetic vibe on your phone. Keep in mind, this is gonna take a while. While my video is probably going to be fast forwarded and I'm going to jump from thing to thing, keep in mind it's going to take some time to actually do this whole process, especially if you want to have each of your individual apps have some sort of like new stylized icon, and that in of itself is a little bit of a process. There are going to be two apps that you're going to need, the Shortcuts app and the Widgetsmith app. You're likely to have shortcuts already on your phone, but if you don't, it looks like this. The next thing that you're probably going to want to do is figure out what's the aesthetic or the style or the vibe you're trying to go for on your phone. I think I'm going to go for a very minimalist kind of fall feeling thing. So hopefully that'll last me for a couple months and I'll have to do this again until like the winter. Or you can just go super minimal, keep it really clean, you know, one color base kind of thing, or black and white or anything like that. You just got to figure out what is your whole style, what is your whole vibe, what's going to work for you. One of the fastest ways you can do this, of course, is like I mentioned, you can buy an icon set and just save them all to your Photos app or the Files app on your phone. But if you have some design chops, creating your own might be a great option. And I'm going to do a little drop in here of a quick way to create your own icon using Affinity Designer on your iPad. Alright, so one of the key aspects of this whole aesthetic stylizing your home screen on your phone is obviously the icons. So what I wanted to do really quickly is show you some options that you can find online, and then also show you how you can make one really quickly and then just repeat the process using Affinity Designer on your iPad. So of course, if you're online, there's tons of free options. You just want to make sure that they're royalty free. So if you just go to Google, type in free icons and see what comes up, and you'll find things like icons8.com, Pixabay. Icons8 is a great option, and you can utilize some of these for different elements that you are going to place onto your iPhone. Now, if you want to design your own, this gives you a little bit more control. You have more stylized options. You can control the color. You can control the overall appeal and style of the icon itself. My main suggestion would be to create an icon set on your iPad. So what you can do, first thing I would always suggest is go look at the guidelines for Apple. So we're going to be using the Apple requirements. So you can go to developer.apple.com, and they have the human interface guidelines. And these are just some basic design principles to keep in mind when you're creating icons for use in any type of iOS product. You can even sell these if you end up liking the actual process of creating them. So what I like to do is just go to the icons and images sections and look at the app icon size requirements, and what you'll see is depending on the context or the device, there's different sizes. I'm going to actually design mine at the highest device icon size, which is 180 pixels by 180 pixels, because this is for use on the iPhone. But it shows iPad Pro, iPad Mini, what the size requirements are. So in this case, we're going to do the 180 by 180, and that is going to be the size requirements. We're going to be setting up each of our little icons in our Affinity Designer file. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to create an individual file for each and every icon. I'm just going to design them all on one page using Affinity Designer. So I'm going to launch Affinity Designer. I'm going to set up a new document. I'm just going to do like an 8.5 by 11 print ready item. I'm going to keep everything in pixels because that is the size requirements that we're working with. And I'm just going to do a print press ready, and I'm going to keep the orientation portrait, and then I want to create a transparent background because we're going to be exporting each of the individual PNG icon files separately, and then hit OK. So while we're in here, we're going to be working mostly with the tool icons, like with the toolbar with the shape icons, and some of our toolbars on the right hand side, which are studios. So on the left hand side, if you click on that little question mark at the lower right hand side of your app, it'll give you a pop-up for all of the different elements within this program. So we know we want to create a square that is 180 pixels by 180 pixels. So what we're going to do is start with our left hand side all the way at the bottom, selecting our shape tool. Right now mine is already selected at a rectangle tool, but if you're working in this and you were on some other shape, it may be something different. So if you just hold down that shape, and you'll get this little pop-up that allows you to select the different shapes. So just select rectangle, take your pen, and then you're going to drag out to create a square. It's not going to be 180 pixels by 180 pixels. So what we're going to do is go to the right hand side, select our transform tool, and then we're going to go to our actual dimensions, and we are going to resize the width and the height to be 180 by 180, and then it'll create the actual size that we need this to be in. Now what we can do is recolor and then add visual elements that we would like. What I'm going to do is go back to icons 8 and see if there's any inspiration that I can pull from. I could also go to Pinterest, as my oldest daughter suggested, and just search iOS14 fall aesthetic, and you can get some inspiration there as well. And you'll see different kinds of styles. I'm going to be making these 10 icons free to you all to download, so make sure you check the description bar. And then I'm going to create a little foam background that will match as well. One of the things that I wanted to highlight is that I kind of organized my thoughts before I got started. I have a plan set in place to give me an outline of what I'm going to need to do and create. So I know for sure I'm going to need about 10 to 12 icons, one for my phone, for my camera, for photos, Instagram, Etsy, messages, web browser, email, maps, reminders, and music. Those are the ones that I use the most, and those are going to be the icons that I'm going to have set on my home screen. I also know that I want to have a fall theme, so I'm probably going to create a background for you all, or you could also just pull in a picture as well. That's kind of showcased in some of these images over on Pinterest. People just utilize like a picture in the background. I also know that there's specific widgets that I'm going to want to have, a calendar widget, one for time and date, and then I have a color scheme that I'm keeping in mind. So because of this is fall, I'm thinking kind of like a pumpkin-y orange, a tan to give me something neutral, and then a red, just so that I can keep the color story in line with the overall theme. Or I could do something like a brown, a tan, and an orange as well. What's really nice is that I like to utilize the Coolors app. You can start generating a color palette and it'll give you the exact color hex codes. So what I want to do is find a color story based on the season that I'm going for. So I'm going to actually click on pick a palette from a photo, and then I'm going to pull a picture that I had saved from Pinterest and see if I can download the image to your iPad. When you're in the actual Pinterest app, you have to click on the image, and then there should be a little area where there's 3 dots. Click on that, select download image, and then I'm just gonna save it, and then I'm gonna go into upload image instead. When I browse an image, upload image, and then I'm gonna select browse or dropped image, and then I'm gonna go to my photo library and then go to all photos. It should be the most recent one that I selected. Hit done, and then it's gonna give me a palette. So what I think, I'm just gonna decrease it down to 3. I think I like these 3 options. It's kind of close to my original, so it's like an off-white, the pumpkin orange, and then a brownish or a reddish color. I'm gonna select export, and then I'm going to save it as a PDF, name it, and basically all this is doing is giving me my hex codes. But it's just a really simple way to do it. And then it'll download the PDF, and it gives you tons of different options for the actual hex codes that you can utilize. It'll give you the RGB, the CMYK as well. So what I'm going to do is make sure I download this, and I'm going to save it to my files just so that I have it. And I'm going to go back into Affinity Designer now. So now that I have my hex codes, you can either print them out, or in my case I'm writing them down for the 3 colors that you're going to be using. And then I'm going to pick one to be the main background for each of my icons, and I'm thinking I'm going to select the darkest one just because it makes it easier to see when I overlay the actual visual imagery part of the actual icon. Okay, so now we're going to go back into Affinity Designer. If you notice that your menu options have gone away, if you go to your upper right hand corner, there should be a little square with like corner highlights in it. Just click on that. That pulls all of your tools back into view. So now that we've resized everything, we have the number of icons we want to create, we have our color story, we can start to build these out. So I'm going to select my move tool so that my square is highlighted. I'm going to go to my color picker on the right hand side, and then I am going to select my color from my swatches. I'm going to select my color from my RGB hex sliders. I'm going to make sure I turn off my outline, and then I'm going to go to my fill color. I'm going to go to my fill color, and then I'm going to go down to where my hex code is in my hex sliders, and then I'm going to type in the hex code for that red color, and then hit OK, and it should update the color of my square. So I have this like brownish red. Alright, so now what I want to do is I can utilize this shape tool again to add different shapes to my icons, or I can utilize a site like Icons 8 to download them and place them on top. So we're going to do a combo of both. So I'm going to start with like this heart, and then I'm going to utilize not the same color brown, but that off-white color that I selected. And then now with my shape tool selected, I'm going to basically use it to create a heart. And then I'm going to move that heart on top of my square. And I'm going to make sure it's centered. And then I'm going to select both of them, and I'm going to group them in my layers panel. So I'm going to go to layers, and then I'm going to select the little icon that kind of looks like a puzzle piece, and that's going to group both of these objects together. You may want to actually duplicate that rectangle however many times though that you know you're going to need for the number of icons you're going to have. So in my case, I'm going to duplicate it 10 more times. If you're noticing that everything's kind of all selected together, what you can do is just go into your layers menu and then highlight each of the rectangles and drag them. Once you select one, you can drag to the right on the next one, and it's going to select all of them together, and then you can drag them out from your original. So now we know that we need some icons for like our phone, our camera, photos, Instagram, Etsy, all of those types of things. So what I'm going to do is go back to icons 8. And what's nice is that you can search the website. So I know I've already got Instagram. I want to find something for my phone. So again, because I want to change the color, I want to make sure it's a really simple black and white PNG that I can adjust. I like this one here. And then I'm going to download the linked file. Go back to my search. Find a camera. And just repeat this process for the rest of the icons I need to find. Now that I've found all of the different elements, I can start placing them into these icon sections. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into Affinity Designer, and then I'm going to start placing the icon elements that I've downloaded, and then I'm going to recolor them. So I'm going to go up into my upper menu. So we're going to go into our document menu bar, and then we're going to select place image, and then we're going to import from cloud because we downloaded these to our downloads folder. So I'm going to find them and browse in my downloads, and you should see them all pop up. So the first one I want to place is my phone icon, and then to place it, all you have to do is drag your pen across to place it in. These are going to be in the color that they were designed in, but what's really nice is that we can use the effects panel to recolor these. So before we even place any of the rest of them, I'm going to keep this one selected, go to the right hand side, go to our layer effects studio, and then we are going to turn on the color overlay, and we're going to click on the word color overlay to bring up our options, and we're going to keep the blend mode normal, opacity 100%, and change the color to the white, like the off-white hex code that we have. So in my case, it is FB F9, and then hit OK, and it recolors it for me. So super simple. We're going to repeat this process for all the rest of these. I'm going to do this one more time just so that you guys can have it step by step, and then the rest I'll kind of zoom through. So we're going to go back to our document menu, select place image, go to import from cloud, go to your downloads or wherever you save your different elements on your iPad. I'm going to select the camera next, and then I'm going to drag my pen across my app. It's going to place it, and then I'm going to go to the right hand side, my menu bar with my layer studios, select layer effects studio. It looks like an F and an X. Click on that, scroll down to color overlay, turn it on, click on the word color overlay, and then keep all of the options the same except for the color. Blend normal, or blend mode is normal, opacity is 100%. Click on the color and then type in your hex code. And then I'm just going to repeat this process for the rest of everything else. Now that we've placed all the elements, what I would like to go through now is just how to make sure each of the icon images are actually centered within the square of the icon. So I'm going to select my move tool, which is that little white arrow, and then I'm going to select the actual icon imagery and then the icon background, the brown part. So I'm going to put my finger down and click on the actual square around it, and it'll select both of the elements. And then I am going to go to my transform tool, and then I am going to go to alignment options, and I'm going to align vertically among the centers. So I'm going to do that for each and every one of these, and then after I align them, I'm going to make sure I go to my layers functions, and then I'm going to group that element so all the pieces for it are grouped together. So I'm just going to repeat that process once more for you guys, and then I'm going to go through and do it for the rest of them. So I'm going to select the actual imagery, and then put my finger down on the screen, and then use my pen and select the outside square. And then I'm going to go to my transform studio, go into alignment options, and then go down to align vertically, and I'm going to align it in the centers. And then I'm going to go back to my layers, go to group. Alright, now that I have everything aligned and grouped, I'm going to utilize the export slices function to export each of these individually as their own single file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my upper menu, and I'm going to select the export menu, and then I am going to go into my slices toolbar. So I'm going to select all of these by clicking on one and then dragging my pen across the next layer to the left, and it allows me to select multiple elements on my screen. And then I'm going to hit create slice, and that basically slices each of these elements so that they're going to be their own individual PNG. And then I'm going to go to my export function, which looks like a little box cutter, like it's cutting out a square. And I'm going to just make sure that each of the individual slices is selected, not the background. And I'm going to hit export all. And then I'm going to export them to a file in my Affinity Designer file system here. I'm just going to select stickers PNG, select done. And then I'm going to hit export all again. And it's going to export all of the checked items to the specific folder that I've selected. And then I'm going to exit out of Affinity Designer. I'm going to go to my file system. I'm going to go to my Affinity Designer file, stickers PNG, and all of my little icons have been individually exported at the correct sizes. And then I can just basically select all of these, and then I'm going to airdrop them to myself on my phone. And now we can jump into the next step of the process, which is actually working on adding these elements to your phone. So now that you have all of the new icons and the images that you want to use, you're going to open up your Shortcuts app, which is free from Apple if you don't already have it. And you're going to tap on the plus icon in the top right corner, and you're going to tap Add Action. So you're going to search for Open App and tap it, and then tap Choose, which is highlighted in blue. Now you're going to choose the app that you're creating a custom icon for. So after picking the app, tap the three little dots in the icon, and it's usually in the top right corner, and then tap Shortcut Name at the top and enter 1. Now you want to tap Add to Homescreen. Next, we're going to tap Shortcut and Name again and enter whatever you'd like. It could be the same as the original app or your own custom name, whatever you want. Now tap the icon to the left of the name you just entered, and then tap Choose Photo or Choose File depending on where you saved your little icon images. Now find and tap the icon or the photo that you want to use, and then tap Add in the top right corner, and then tap Done. Now you're going to want to head to your home screen or the last app page to see the new app shortcut with your custom icon. Press and hold that app to enter the whole jiggle mode where you can move things around, and then place it wherever you'd like. Usually the idea is to kind of create a really clean, really simple, stylish home screen and have whatever it is that you need in that home screen, and then the rest over into your app gallery. Now you could head back to the Shortcuts app and tap Done 2 times to get back to that main screen. And then you're going to repeat this whole entire process for all the different apps that you want to have a custom icon for. So another thing you can do is also customize the color schemes or color themes that you're using on your phone. Besides Widgetsmith, there's also the Colorsmith app. So This is another place that you can really make your home screen or your overall vibe your own. This is definitely a fun app to check out. So the app is Color Widgets. You can add different color themes, different types of fonts and styles, and overall just like little widgets that you want to include on your home, whether it's like a calendar or the time and the day. They have lots of fun options that you can like play around with. Anything from like city views to neon to seasonal kind of stuff like fall, which is what I think I'm going to go for with my update here. They have things by color, calendars, minimal, analog, different gradients, and of course there's a pro version too besides the free options that you have. The big thing though that I think you're probably going to want to do with this is clean up your home screen. That's what's going to end up, or that's what's taken me the longest, is actually cleaning up the home screen. So once you have your color story, you have your theme, you have the icons you want to use, then you want to start cleaning up your home screen. You want to hold down on each app to access a pop-up menu that will either let you remove it completely from your home screen and your phone, or that will allow you to move it to the app library, which if you like swipe through your whole entire phone, it'll be at the end of all of your swipes and you'll see all of your apps kind of organized by type or whatever folders you've created in that gallery. So that's the nice thing, cleaning up your home screen, removing the apps that you don't want on it and pulling into your gallery. Or if you're like me and you have things that you haven't used in a few months and don't need, you can just delete them. Then you'll want to set your wallpaper if you've decided to update the whole overall style and not just the icons. You can add a new wallpaper. What you're going to do is go to your settings, tap wallpaper, and then tap choose a new wallpaper, and then pick the wallpaper that you've selected and save to your photo roll. Alright, so I hope you find this helpful and informative, and if you ended up using this and creating a stylish kind of home screen, definitely take a screenshot and share it on Instagram or something, or do a reel and tag me in at Bella Sophia Creative, and I'll make sure to comment. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!